looked really ugly, so the council bought the land and knocked it down. And the English law says you have to have a dig, or at least have an archaeological company come in, do a survey of the area, make sure that your construction work isn't going to damage anything that's here already. So yeah, York is nearly 2,000 years old. If you've been anywhere in the city in the last 30 seconds, you would know that there's historical buildings everywhere. So the archaeologists got super excited because this is the first time, until fairly recently, that they were able to access a dig site this big. It's about the size of a standard football pitch. Yes. Nor was it supposed to be that big, nor was it supposed to be 5.5 years. It was supposed to be a few trenches right at the top of the street where Cafe Near and Pavers is. Over in 6 months, and you would have never known that we were here. The problem is that when you get 6 meters underground and go under the water table, things start getting preserved really well. So they bumped into an entire Viking street. And so 6 months ended up being 5.5 years, a 1,000 square meter dig that was 6 to 9 meters deep. So it was a fairly big deal. Now when the dig concluded, they're like, well, we've got a massive hole here. We're going to have to fill some of it in just to build this stuff over here. They're like, well, what we could do is stick a museum underground. So that's what they did. So when you go downstairs today, you're going to go down about 6 meters and head into the Viking street. Hello, darling. What time are you looking for? 11. So I've got my phone in the waiting area on this side. So yes. Up here. Where was it? Ah, yes. I get very distracted very easily. My brain is buffering like crazy today. I've had no caffeine. Anyway, so you're going to go downstairs. It's going to be a glass floor. Under the glass floor is a 30 square meter 1-to-1 scale replica of what archaeologists would have been seeing around where Cafe Near and Pavers is at the top of the street here today. You'll be able to see just how densely packed this site was with artefacts. We have filled up 1.5 museums and 4 warehouses with artefacts solely from this particular dig. It is massive. Yes, then you're going to move on to the ride, which is going to show you a full reconstruction of what Coppergate would have looked like in the year 960. Now, if you've come looking for Vikings, I'm ever so sorry, guys. You've come to the wrong place. But yes, I do know we put Vikings on the sign here, so that's because everyone knows what a Viking is. If I had told you that people living here are Anglo-Scandinavians, you might have a slightly different response of, oh, I don't want to go there. That's got nothing to do with Vikings. It has everything to do with Vikings, because it's what happens when Vikings marry Anglo-Saxons and have babies. So there you go. We're looking at 3 generations past Viking invasions of England. Anyway, I won't spoil any more of that for you downstairs. But there's a ride. You get to sit on it. It's super slow. If you're looking for a roller coaster, wrong place to be today. Yes, I'm sorry. If you're also looking for the big scary Vikings, you're going to have to look somewhere else. We're all super tired. We're doing 90-hour work weeks. It's not fun being a Viking, or Anglo-Scandinavian even. Then you're going to head through to the gallery portion, which is going to show you some of the hand-picked best items. And bearing in mind, we found 40,000 objects of individual significance. What that means, I have no idea, but apparently they were super important. You're going to see 3 of our best ones. Bearing in mind, they're all really good. In fact, we've got the UK's second confirmed frying pan for the Viking Age. It's super deadly. We had to lock it up in a glass box so it wouldn't try and kill you. You've got the UK's only Viking sock. We only ever found the right foot, never the left foot. So even 1,000 years ago, the mystery of the lost sock continues. And one item that wasn't even found here, but has drawn crowds from across the continents of the world's largest human fossilized poo. It's massive, it's pretty chunky as well, and if you think you can do better, it used to be 3 to 4 centimeters wider and longer. So go look at it and be like, oh god, that must have hurt. So, this is all what awaits you downstairs today. In return, we simply ask for 3 things, or 3 smallish favours. The first one is please do not touch any of the Vikings that you see here today. We are people too, we promise. Most of us come equipped with knives, axes, swords and spears, so if you do feel the random urge to touch a Viking today, if you leave with less fingers and toes, that's on all of you. I take no responsibility for you. Pass the door. The second one is please don't eat or drink inside the museum today. We are trying to keep it pest-free and 2,000-year-old objects do not like your fizzy drinks. Lastly, you can take photographs. You can even take a selfie if you want to. Just make sure the flash is turned off. If we catch you using the flash, you will be chased through the museum by a Viking, lightly tapped on the shoulder and politely asked to turn the flash off. If you're looking for the scary Vikings, you have to go somewhere else. There's not us. And on that note, guys, you all get to go downstairs. Enjoy yourselves. It's not a queue. Feel free if you see space to...
Pretty cool, guys. There's it.
So once everyone's gathered, I'll explain what we're looking at beneath the glass.
So come on to the glass and wander out. I'll give you a little...
Once we are all here gathered, there shall be the cost of this glass has been factored into your admission fee, my friends, so get your money's worth, walk away. Step out onto the glass, folks. Management is assured this is perfectly safe. Step out onto the glass, folks. Step out onto the glass.
Thank you. That is the only joke, so I hope you enjoyed it. Now, you have just travelled back in time over.
Look, the wall there that you talked about. Very enthusiastic.
Yeah, it's a different fuel that's at that rate. Or the pumping oxygen. And we also reviewed the plants as well. So we found over 200
Just mind your heads when you sit down. There we are. And then select the language when you're ready.
We are going to take you back in time to JORVIK, Viking Age York. Around the time that Eric Bloodaxe, the last Viking king in JORVIK, was banished, JORVIK expanded dramatically, with new streets, new churches, and a brand new style of houses. It was a busy place, with people arriving from all over the Viking world to visit, trade, and settle. In this multicultural society, people have different appearances, languages, religions, and possessions. The remains of part of this thriving city are found right here, and by carefully piecing together all of the archaeological evidence and what we know from other sources, you can now visit the Viking Age. You have arrived by the River Foss. Ahead lies the city with countless houses and workshops, many of them newly rebuilt. Some, like this damaged one, a victim of an unintended half perhaps. As ships became more seaworthy, the Vikings created wider trade routes, sometimes using chains of middlemen to carry goods from one side of the Viking world to the other. Silks and the cowrie shell found here suggest trade with Central Asia, the Eastern Mediterranean and the Red Sea. It's possible that Arab traders, like this one, made their way to Europe to sell their goods. Slavers may have come to Europe from Dublin or elsewhere, bringing with them the spoils of their raids or battlefields. Slaves were an important part of society all over Northern and Western Europe at this time. It looks like this slave trader is trying to make his way up to Coppergate. But before we get there, let's have a look at some of the many craftspeople working here in the city. Here's Sigurd. He's using animal bones and anchor from deer to make some everyday objects such as combs, comb cases, scales, and bone blades. Making a comb from anchor could be very time-consuming, as the ones found here were made from many pieces riveted together and then decorated. We know that the Vikings liked to keep themselves well groomed, as we found many combs in the excavations, as well as items such as tweezers and even ear screws. We'll now head away from the river towards the street of Coppergate and meet some more of the people who lived and worked here. Ahead, you can see a simple, single-story building. These older houses were built from posts and rock and have earth floors and thatched roofs. Most of these houses went out of use in the middle of the 10th century when they were replaced by the oak plank building that we'll talk about later. These early houses were built end-on to the streets and had long backyards with rubbish pits in them. It's not likely that they grew much food in the yards, but they probably kept animals there, such as those pigs you can see in the pen by the fence. From the many pig bones we found here, we know that Viking pigs were quite short and had a long snout like a wild boar. Pigs will eat almost anything, so would have been a great way to turn household waste into meat. Here's the blacksmith's house. Look inside and you can see his wife by the fire. Grummy, the blacksmith, is teaching his son how to sharpen a knife he's just made. Viking Age smiths were masters of their craft, and here in JORVIK they made everything from needles to beautifully ornate handles. Now we'll go across to the next property and visit his neighbour, Unearthed, the woodturner, who lives in one of the new style wooden plank buildings. Unearthed is making cups and bowls by turning wood such as oak or ash on his cold layer. You can see all the wooden core waste on the ground, which children may have used as spinning tools. By the way, it's this trade that many think gave its name to Coppergate, the street of the cup makers. Another building is being built behind Will's house. Here, the cellar is being dug out and lined with oak planks before the upper story is added. You can see a stack of turfs over there that are going to be used to roof this building. Looks like the builders are having a rest though. This family also look like they're taking a break. The children are being taught to play Nefertari by their grandfather. We found a wooden gaming board and lots of playing pieces here made from bronze, wood and iron, so it must have been a popular pastime. Let's go back towards the river where big trading ships have been that have come up from the North Sea. Here, traders are unloading their goods alongside fishermen cleaning their catch. Goods and raw materials from across Britain, as well as rare and valuable items from further afield, were brought into JORVIK here. Iron alloy bars from Britain alongside amber, sharpening stones and wall recycle from Scandinavia, and good wine from the Rhineland. JORVIK was truly bustling, a vast international trading centre. Here's some fishermen cleaning their catch and mending their nets. Fish from the rivers and the sea were brought into JORVIK, and we found thousands of fish bones that tell us exactly what the people ate, which included lots of fish, eels, and even oysters. So these men are probably doing a roaring trade. Have a look at the man gutting the fish. His face has been reconstructed based on a skull that was found in JORVIK. Later on in your visit, you'll see real faces like this. This next plot is a backyard where the people living here seem to have been dyeing their own clothes. The people of JORVIK spun fleece, then dyed and wove their own wool to make textiles from which they made their own clothes. Natural dye plants such as madder, weld, woad, and dyer's greenwood were all used to create shades of red, yellow, blue, and green. Vibrantly coloured clothes would suddenly brighten up the streets of JORVIK. On this plot of land, there was a gully that contained dye plant waste, suggesting that a dye bath had been tipped into it. Limestone lined that gap running up to this next building, forming a passageway to the back door. We are now entering one of the new style oak-paved buildings. We're still discussing whether these buildings were one or two story, but they all have rooms or cellars below ground level. As we travel through this two-roomed house, you can imagine that the floor at the back is being built, and you can see the cellar below where goods are stored. Above this sunken room, the window openings are only small, so as you can see, it would have been quite dark inside these houses. In addition to the hearth, small pottery lamps and wax candles were used to create light so that the people who lived here could carry out their everyday tasks. In this front room, you can see a woman working at the loom, which was used to weave woolen cloth for clothing and blankets. We're now moving into Coppergate itself, an important commercial street right in the heart of the city of JORVIK. As you can see from these stores, you can buy almost anything. Coppergate is just one of the many streets in this city, which was home to more than 10,000 people. The streets of the city of JORVIK are covered in filth and muck, rutted by cart wheels and with potholes everywhere. This leatherworker seems to be having a problem sewing his pieces together. It looks like he has Viking disease, or Dupuytren's contraction. You can see it's caused the fingers on his hand to become clawed. It's a genetic disorder that runs in families, you see particularly in middle-aged men. Tradition has it that it originated with the Vikings, who spread it throughout Northern Europe and beyond as they travelled and intermarried. This couple here are arguing about what to have for supper, meat or fish. It would seem that life hasn't changed too much over the last 1,000 years. They're arguing in Old Norse, but if you listen carefully, you can hear Old English, Middle Welsh, and Old Irish all being spoken in this street. Here's a food seller trying to sell this wealthy-looking woman a cabbage of some sort. It doesn't look like the type of thing that would tempt her or her young baby. This woman looks like she's struggling to cross the road. We only found 2 complete skeletons in the excavation. This one is based on one. You can see that she's walking the crutch due to her hip problem and arthritis. You can find out more about her in the galleries to Here, we are in another of the new buildings. The first Vikings who came here were not Christians and worshipped their pagan Norse gods, but they seem to have adopted Christianity quite quickly. There is lots of evidence for there being a Viking-era church just behind Copenhagen, and there were many other new churches built in Jorvik at this time. Here's a priest administering last rites. He would always have worn a stole baptism as seen here, as it marked his priestly status. We found a very small silk, pink-coloured reliquary pouch in one of the buildings. The embroidered cross on it suggests that it once held holy relics which have since disappeared and are now a mystery. Each property is separated from the next by woven wattled fences. We know from the 5 tons of animal bone found in the excavation that the people's diet was quite similar to ours, with lots of beef, pork and mutton, as well as poultry and fish. Supplying this food may have been one of the reasons for the major changes in the countryside we see around Jorvik at this time. In this backyard, animals have been slaughtered to provide meat and other resources. Body parts of cattle must have been a fairly familiar sight and smell around Viking Age stores. As well as supplying meat, cattle carcasses also provided horn and honey, both valuable resources for making everyday items. Stomach contents and cow dung were other byproducts of this slaughter. There must have been loads of flies, breeding in rubbish pits and dumps across the city. The red dog, there on the fence, would have been a regular visitor, scavenging in the city, particularly in the backyard of the place. Toilets would also be situated in the backyard. Pits in this use were clearly used as latrines, as they were full of human waste, as well as moss, which was a type of Viking Age toilet paper. This man here doesn't look too happy to be disturbed, so perhaps we'd better move on quickly. Here, we are in our final house. In the excavations at Copenhagen, we found a few Viking Age musical instruments, including a set of panpipes which can still be played. Music, saga telling and poetry must have been important in the Viking world. Iceland and Scandinavia have cultures rich in storytelling, traditions that developed in Viking times. Norse mythology, which brings up gods and monsters living in 9 realms, still captures the imagination today. And we can picture what it was like sitting around a hearth, enjoying tall tales of magic and grace.
That was some cool shit.
Pretty cool.
As we arrive at the end of the journey through Jorvik, remember that everything you have seen is based on the evidence dug up by archaeologists from York Archaeological Trust. You can see some of the 40,000 actual objects they found here in the displays ahead, and you can find out more by asking one of our team. If you want to learn more about the historic city of York, you can go to Dig and actually have a go at digging up some evidence of your own. Whatever you do, enjoy your visit with us here today, and come back soon, as we're always discovering more as we dig through York's fascinating past.
Right, everyone, have you enjoyed the ride? Yes. Now it's going to stop soon, there's a little gap there, so just mind your step as it does wobble a bit. Handrails are also here if you need.
think they were famous for doing that. I don't actually know how often they did do that. They did really well. And they certainly That's a lovely sight.
Isn't there one of the biggest I'm pretty sure it's the biggest like people ever found.
Library area on the other side of the city centre. Into the park right there.
There's benches here.
Library. There's a cross section through the mount which shows you the different periods of the building. And there's a tower that's hidden behind the main wall. It's the only standing building left from the King Age. I mean that's I've really sold it well there. It's the most visual bit around the table. On the 400s.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So it goes from being fairly localized to huge strongholds, being regions and places. The engineers become main contact. So on this site, we found 2 finds today that maybe demonstrates the alignment, but like I still been working through multiple changes, like wall changes, so the person working there, so to say. So early on in the Viking period, the north being this is the one that shows this because it says would have all written.
Oh, right.
They go through different issues as well, like sort of particulars. They'd all be on the same official design. So I'll just take this building and still adapt it. So it's there is a bit more like openness with it. It's kind of like using like electronic pay, well, like
Right.
it's you're into you, you're still spending like the local money.